Hey guys, Ryan Steinelson here, and today I have S. Lee again on the call with me. We're like, getting used to this, doing it daily, because there's so much that is changing, and I think that live video is really perfect, the perfect venue for really keeping people up to date on how fast things are changing, and in the AI space. So I own Accelerate Marketing. I'm the CEO of that company. It's a 15-year-old, almost 15-year-old digital marketing agency. We help businesses generate an extra $50,000 or more a month through digital marketing strategies, primarily local businesses, by optimizing their Google Business Profile page and local service ads page. We've helped thousands of businesses. You can look us up, look our reviews up. We've got a 5-star rating, and S is a rock star with AI. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. I'm S. Lee. I'm the owner of Messages Improved, which is a platform that allows people to go in and build AI agents that's connected with their existing channels. So, voice, telephone, texting, email. Email was actually something that we've kind of built and never really formalized as a product. But the idea is basically make it really easy for business owners to get connected with AI, because the hardest part, Ryan and I have always talked about, have been the piping.
Yeah.
And so we stay on top of kind of everything AI related, so you don't have to, right?
Yeah.
And I know Ryan probably has some topics in mind for today, but I just sent across an email to Ryan that Salesforce is having their own AI agent builder that's launched this week. It's $2 a conversation. There's a lot to kind of discuss there, because I think what's really interesting about AI is it almost bridges to so many things. It's a technology, it's a service, it's a
new employee.
It's a new employee, right? And so you kind of go, when you adopt AI, there's a lot of things that have to change, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're fundamentally changing the way you operate your business. And I think the most interesting thing is to kind of look at it from the lens of every business owner will now be a product owner. It doesn't matter what business they do. If they're a lawyer, if they're a plumber, right? You have effectively a technology product that is in front of your customers right now. And I think, if you think of websites as a product, businesses never really, fully understood it, right? It was always outsourced. But now it gets very, very real, because everything that it's doing is probably similar to what the business owner does, right? It talks to people.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to look at it from that lens and to say, hey, why do you need to know this as a business owner? Like, because every business is going to have this in the next 3 years. And I'm pretty sure 99% of businesses, especially service businesses, have never had a product.
Yeah, you're right. It really productizes the service industry, basically.
Yeah.
And if you have any comments, please, put them down below in the below the video. It'd be great if you can post any comments down below so that we can answer them. We jump on daily to answer questions. We're actually going to have a workshop tomorrow to help any business owner set up their own AI agent for voice and messaging within 10 minutes, so that you can add it to wherever you want, and it's a lot less than $2 a conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, we could get and to just extend on or add on to your point there, that service-based businesses have a product because they've got what they're doing, or what's happening is that there's a new model. It's not SaaS. I said this to you today. It's ass. It's it's everybody gets a kick out of it. It's agency as a service, and this is what you're talking about. It's the same thing. That's the product. It's an agency or a service, as a product,
Mhm.
and so now, you know, the business owners are really, they're forced to understand what it's like to really either set up themselves or have somebody set it up for them, a agent that can do the things that need to be done on a daily basis. This is why Salesforce set up their first agent. It's a voice and messaging agent. That's just the beginning. The obvious next step is to make it so that these agents are ubiquitous in the business, and so you've got an agent for every aspect of your business, from um, organizing the schedule, calendar, scheduling appointments, invoicing, all of this can be agentized, you know
Mhm.
so this is where you've got the products, you've got these products that you're talking about, is that every business is going to have a product, and that product is going to be those agents that are doing the work, and the question is how are you going to train them? Do you have a process set up? This is why it's so important that businesses now have their processes in place, because if you don't have your process in place, then it's hard to train a new employee. That is a one-time training situation where you've got an AI agent. If you've got that process documented with a PDF and screenshots and everything, and speaking of screenshots, now with the large language model Claude, which competes with OpenAI, you can, it literally takes screenshots of your screen. You literally just say, okay, I want you to do this, and it takes over your computer, and it just starts doing that thing by logging into where it needs to log into, connecting to APIs, going to QuickBooks, pulling the information there. I mean, it can do whatever task or to do that you want it to do. I would imagine that, like in Basecamp,
Mhm.
we can have our to-dos in Basecamp. Really, a cluster of to-dos is an agent, basically,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've always said that, with this AI, any person whose product is done on a computer, which is a lot of people now, right?
Yeah,
If you're
yeah,
not manufacturing something, if you're not producing something physical, if the output of your work is on the computer can probably do it better pretty soon.
oh, it's doing it better right now, and I would encourage anybody that doesn't believe this. I mean, and put any questions or comments down below for sure in the comments, um, even on the recording as well. Go to type in Claude on YouTube, Claude computer takeover. They just perfected this 4 days ago. They've got more users that are using their API than OpenAI does. So Claude is really more for developers, and it the video showed very clearly, when you give it an instruction, a prompt, it will take what's on your screen, a spreadsheet, and it will take that, and it will do whatever you want to with that spreadsheet. Go get information, or go, you can build out a list for your business. The marketing is another agent, the marketing side of things. Sales is another agent potentially. Whatever divisions you have in your company, your intake is another agent, obviously. That's where we're starting, because it's challenging, and because really it's the first agent that can be created is one with really with communication. It's the most obvious first use of it, because it's the first time we've had access to be able to actually have a dialogue with the computer without having to use prompts, or without having to use like a DOS language, or or just use the cursor, use the cursor. So
Right.
it's just having a natural language,
Right.
natural language programming. That's where it came from.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of imagine like that supervisor, that's basically yelling orders, not yelling orders, but giving orders to the person on the computer, right?
Mhm.
You just cut that person on the computer out, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And that way, if you can interact with the customer directly, you can cut that supervisor out too, right? You're
Yeah.
on a call with a customer that's like, yeah, I want to change my address, and I want to, there's some kind of validation that happens. But if you have a program that's open with an interface to the database, like once you pass that validation, the customer could be telling him or her, what kind of information they want changed in their account, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I mean,
Exactly.
I think, I mean, it's going to be really exciting for like the next year to see people productize this and see how far they can get.
Yeah.
Because the way we nudge businesses to be brave about deploying it, right? Because
Hmm.
there's be somebody else who's braver that's going to get farther down with that, and for
Hmm.
all all these businesses could be 1% of the way, and you had a business that was very tech savvy that was 99% there, right?
Hmm.
And has done all these things, and they're the ones that could scale.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and so, you know, I urge businesses to like try this, make it live, start thinking about how to make this employee more versatile, more useful, rather than being worried about what it says, right?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a luxury. It's like, I mean, I was in a conversation yesterday where the guys on the other side were just like, "Have you talked to people? Are you worried about what your people say? Because your people probably say much worse things, right?
Oh yeah.
You can't keep them on track." And like, if you have an AI that you've given a directive,
Hmm.
like answer this call, answer my questions, collect information, they're gonna stick to that script so much better than a person.
Yeah. 100%. It will, and that's what people really need to understand is that if you give the AI a directive, like you said, I mean, it is going to stick with that script. Because that's all. That's what it does. It doesn't deviate from it. It's so much more objective instead of subjective, and it doesn't have a lot of the issues that humans have. I mean, a lot of the issues that we see that humans have in terms of forgetting things and so yeah, the sooner, and we're doing this in our own company. I mean, we're using a combination of the plumbing, which is our go high level, which is creating the automation, and the large language model communication system that we've got, which is leveraging language to be able to be the liaison between our client, because now they can just verbally communicate with our processes is basically what's happening. They can verbally communicate with the tools that we've connected to that large language model that is using voice to have access to. So we're in essence, it's just a different interface. We're basically giving our clients access to our CRM, or our information, because it's easier for them to use. It's actually available with just voice communication. And obviously you'd want to protect it. You'd want to make sure that it's secure. But that's really that I think is the biggest shift, is that people really are just now starting to understand, is that because the AI models can communicate with human voice, it really opens up the interface to be much more ubiquitous. And the question is how are all of these different apps, like you had mentioned in the beginning, like Salesforce, how are they, because they've got access to the data. They've already got these people that are vested users of their platforms. They've got a captive audience, so to speak. So
Yeah, and they're in a
um
fantastic position, right? Like, but it really depends on how they behave. And there's a part of me that feels that Salesforce got behind this whole agent force thing because one of their large clients has publicly said, "Hey, it was about a year ago that they were like,
mhm,
hey, we have an AI handling 500 of our customer, doing what 500 customer service agents do, right?"
mhm,
And then a couple of months ago, they were like, "Yeah, we've built on that. This client satisfaction is through the roof. And by
mhm,
the way, because we built this thing out, we don't need Salesforce anymore. We don't need a CRM. we figured out how to give the AI direct access to our databases, right? And built our own processes around that. So
Yeah.
the way I felt, Salesforce might have been reactive to that, to be like, okay, now it's real, right? Here's a multi-million
Yeah.
dollar client that we just lost because they built their own.
Yeah.
So, and they're going up the chain, being like, oh well, Microsoft, like your product's not great, ours is better, and this is
Yeah.
just going to be a domino effect.
Yeah.
That's going to affect everybody, and the net result of that, I think, is good, because
Yeah.
the Salesforce, as a software provider, if you can make it really easy to be like, all right, you have 500 employees, okay, pay me $2 per conversation, and you have 501. And that one additional one can replace your other 499, and you can just have
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
manage.
Managing all of them. And yeah, by the way, we've got a few people on right now. So if you got any questions, please ask any questions that you have. I agree with you. I mean, this is why, we're actively looking at, like, ourselves, at how we can actually leverage the AI. And what's interesting is these big enterprise companies, they don't have an AI person yet. They don't have an AI division. They don't have a head of head of AI. And so they're scrambling. They're really scrambling to figure out how to make this work. So this is the real opportunity. There's going to be some really big opportunities, coming up very, very soon, to for people that understand what artificial intelligence is, what AI agents are, how they work, how they function, and this is what we're helping businesses do. And specifically, we're leveraging what we've been doing for years, which is helping local businesses to leverage this technology using voice and text on one number. So we're putting an AI on one phone number, voice and text, so that you can use that one number and put it anywhere that you put your phone number, and you can have the AI respond for you with the knowledge of your business, and that AI can replace, like S said, basically as many people as you want, as long as it's trained properly and you've got good processes that make that training process easier. And you would upload, PDFs, etc., for the knowledge base. But I think what's interesting is the pricing. We see the pricing, from anything from like Smith AI to, like Salesforce, where it's like per conversation, and which is an interesting way to price. And then you get into other expansions of the AI, or, broadening of the utilization of the artificial intelligence, where it's not just answering the phone, sending a notification to the team that they got a new lead, and then third, sending the information, like the transcript of the call. Those are the three main things that we're doing initially. But a lot of people are trying to figure out, okay, once we've got that basic information, what else can we do? And they're trying to expand, and they're wanting to connect to different tools, like, their CRM, like Go High Level, or you name it, Go High Level, Salesforce, QuickBooks, in order to get their daily processes completed by the AI instead of by a human. And like today, we have a welcome email, like that can go out through automation. That can be done through Go High Level. We don't need a new interface for that, because we've got a trigger already that initiates that, which is a new invoice being paid. Okay, so that is easy to do. It's been able to be done for years, but the new interface, again, is what's new, is that language model. It's the human communication via text or voice that makes it much more easy to interface with and to access it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I would add as a note, and by the way, this new interface, right? The key is that it uses an interface that people are already familiar with, the predominant interface, right? So, like, as opposed to getting people into a new platform, a new way of doing things, you don't have to, right? So I think that's a real important, like, distinction. And again, for a lot of the AI platforms, that they don't have the users.
Yeah.
And if you could be a Go High Level or a Salesforce, it's like, we already have all your contacts, your internal teams, all of that. They're a skip away from, you know, Ryan, you say, what are other applications? Referrals, right? How many leads come your way that don't exactly qualify? And you have a list of 10, 20 services that's just like, okay, I can be referring and, you know, and
Yeah.
to train a bot like that, all you would have to do is, okay, give me your list of 20. What's their name? What's their contact number? What do they do? Right. And that, and let the bot go, the agent go wild and just have it go, okay, the next time somebody reaches out, oh, yeah, we don't do that type of work because it has access to the database, right? You could, it could be instructed to say, if there's a matching service, right? A service that matches what I'm looking for, give them the name and contact number of this person, right? So you go, okay, like again, it goes back to how brave are you in terms of what data you give it access to, and the braver you are, the better the results will be. Instead of sitting there being like, I don't want it to do this, I don't want it to do this, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
if you had a really great employee, would you be saying that to them, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
would just be like, hey, great employee, I'm going to give you access to everything. Let's see you know, do some magic, right?
Yeah.
And just imagine the revenue stream that's available for businesses right now, just on referrals alone, right?
Yeah.
We had experience with that
Yeah.
where people were thankful, right? Like 80% of people were like, wow, that was really helpful. Thanks. Like, because this is what they wanted. And you, as the business, might not provide it, but then you gave them, you know, a glowing review of this other business and they're getting what they want.
Yeah. 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 And you bring up reviews. I mean, that's another process that we're gonna create an agent for, is the review gathering process, because that process is done predominantly via communication. So what, that interface is already there. It's a lot of times it was done in the past with just emails and text, but the text was it was automated, but there was no conversation after it. There was nobody behind it, and that's where the AI, if you've got situations like that where you've got a communication opportunity like a referral, where you've got a human having to do that, and the way that you're getting that accomplished is via voice or texting, then you can outsource. Those are like the low hanging fruit, to dos that any business can outsource or create an agent for. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's kind of funny, but agency as a service. Like, we have a digital marketing agency, but really, the agents are going to be able to do our service eventually. Okay, so from India, I want to become machine learning engineer, but I have never been. Okay. Okay. Hello, I'm Akshat Sangji from India. I want to become machine learning engineer, but I have never been part of any company. I have worked so much on my skills, and yet I struggle to get my resume selected. Can you guide me to get my resume selected? It's good. It always, for me, it just always just comes down to like actually doing it. I would offer your services for free to as many businesses as you can to get started, or I would just say like two or three, and then get raving reviews from them. That's it. If you've got, and then get referrals, and the what I would ask for. So what I would ask for them, once you do the service, is the exchange is that they give you a video review and a written review, and that would go to your social channels, and a video review. I would just get on a Google Meet or a Zoom and record the call, and then just ask them like what their experience was, get them great results, and then just replicate that and put that on your landing page and send that out when you're texting with people or when you're communicating with people, and get that testimonial on Upwork or wherever it is that you're working. So if you're a machine learning engineer, you've got to get you've got to get experience, and you've got to get examples, and you've got to really just get testimonials, and that's what we're doing right now. We're getting, that brings up a good point. Like, we're getting really good testimonials, and case studies. I mean, what you really want is a case study. And the case study that we're getting is, and what we're seeing is that when the AI is answering the phone and it's responding to message leads, the clients have close to the conversion rate that they have when a human answers, okay, which is amazing. And then the other thing is that they get more leads because they give Google what it wants, which is the phone calls being answered within 30 seconds. And the messages being responded to within 30 seconds, which is one of Google's criteria. So you want to make sure that you are leveraging this technology on the right platforms. And that's why we start with Google local service ads, because if you start with the platforms that that are going to give you the greatest results by leveraging the AI to respond quickly, which it can do very well, then that's going to be a winning combination. So look at other situations where that might hold true.
Yeah. And I may have a very kind of, so my view on getting a job is you get paid what value you bring, right? My first job out of school, I was like, hey, websites are going to be a big thing. I'm going to go to a restaurant and be like, hey, can I give you a website? And they're like, how much? I was like, $1,000, right? And I was like, okay, that might have just spoiled me in terms of like, my interaction with services. But like right now, if you go to any business and say to them, hey, I can create value by putting an AI to do something for your business, they're probably going to say yes and charge you $1,000 and then build the bot on our platform for free. I mean,
that's it. And which is what we're doing tomorrow in our workshop. I mean, so I would do what we're doing, like create an agent for a business owner, and then see what additional value you can bring. The additional value that we bring is we know how to set up the plumbing, so that we can actually set up and also we know how to set up both voice and messaging on one phone number. But we know how to set up the plumbing so that the call is transferred correctly and so that everything works. So, okay, we've got another question. What does it mean that AI learns? Does it store what it learned somewhere in a file? If so, can you just copy its mind files and recreate the same AI locally? It's a very good question, actually. Yes.
Yeah. So the way to think about it is, think of this AI almost as like, if you're familiar with computers, with the CPU being the brain, right? The memory being your memory, right? And when you say AI learns, there's different ways to teach it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we've talked about in the prompt before, okay, you give it an instruction and it's almost like, well, the CPU already knows what to do if you give it that instruction. And when you teach it and when you train it, you could add files there, reference information, reading material, that we would call it, right? And you could upload, for some of our bots, you have people uploading hundreds of files into that, right? And you can see that as uploading the files into saving it to a database in a memory, right? So that you could refer to that if needed, but a lot of times you don't need that. And there's a reinforcement learning piece, which is okay, fundamentally, this is a brain. And if you said something and somebody reacted negatively to it and yelled at you afterwards, right? Or said, why'd you say that? That was terrible, right? You get that reinforcement of a negative sentiment from the other person, right? And you know now not to do that anymore, right? Yeah. And so it's all, the math behind it. It comes down to weights, matrix math, and all that. But we've kind of simplified it to say, okay, the brain is complicated, but interactive. A human isn't, right? So if you can just make that as similar as possible, so that you can talk to the human and say, hey, look, read these 2-3 manuals before you go into this call. And by the way, I'm going to whisper in your ear, that you should, this is the persona that you should put in. And then afterwards, like, we'll give you reinforcement and say, no, that was bad. Now change the way you think about this, right? So it de-weights what you just said,
right,
and weights higher what you corrected it to.
right. So there is a way for it to learn, and we got another question with Fred here. So if so, can you just copy this mind, and you can recreate another AI locally? There are LLMs that you can create on your local computer that are pretty darn powerful, and that's actually that's the future, really. That's the next iteration of what's happening. And then we got another question after that. So Fred just says, I just stumbled upon you guys, but I've been very heavily interested in AI. What is your platform? Would love to talk with it. Would love to look at it and see if it could help me. So it can only help you if you're looking to have a recreation of employees in your business that actually can talk, and either that's in the form of intake or customer service or anything else. I mean, really, how many employees in your business actually talk or text or to send a message? So to that extent, it can help you, which is a lot. I mean, so this is where it's only as creative as you want to be. I mean, if you want, and it would be interesting to actually know what your business is. We've done, S has done enterprise level, implementations, and you can go to the Text May platform. We're actually going to be doing a workshop tomorrow at was it 1 o'clock? Yeah, it's 1 o'clock tomorrow, and we're going to be taking business owners like yourself through the process of actually creating your prompt, like setting up the agent for both texting and voice. By the end of the call, which is, actually 30 minutes into it, everybody should have an agent. It's kind of like Oprah, you get an agent, everybody gets an agent, and yeah, go ahead.
And the platform is Messages Improved. You can go here now, messagesimproved.com. There's a big fab button. You click it, you sign in, and you hit create bot. There's going to be, you put a name to it, figure out what the function is, and it's going to pre-fill instructions. You hit create, and then you have your own agent, right? And if you pop in your telephone number, it'll text you so that it'll be that your agent will be live, but just on our shared number. And so, that's
within minutes. I mean, it literally, I found S months ago by just texting the word messages AI. And we got another question. So messages and AI, and you'll see it. He's right there at the top. Text May, and that everything goes through his other parent brand, which is Messages Improved. So Junia Cardoso, hello. Do you recommend using VAPI plus Make plus Go High Level for LSA AI voice? Good question. So I recommend. I recommend you don't need to use all those. You can just use VAPI. You can use Bland.
Use Bland.
Yeah, you can use Bland. You can use VAPI. You can use Air AI. You can use. There's so many of them, but you don't need to have a Make integration or Go High Level. You can just use VAPI out of the box for voice. But that's the challenge. Is that's just for voice. That's not for texting. So this is where I would recommend, because we put both voice and messaging on one phone number, and you can do that with the platform that we just discussed. And then I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you
I would just add in there, the problem with this tech is you had to assemble things, right? And that's where the industry is evolving very quickly. Go High Level has an AI agent builder that they just rolled out last week, right? Vertically integrated, so you don't have to cross platform. For years, we were doing that where we're like, all right, get your SMS number connected to messaging. And it's hard for businesses to kind of, do the piping for these, right? I think you should start thinking about not how to connect them. Why reinvent the wheel yourself? In 3 months, your platform will have a vertically integrated, agent maker. And what's important now is actually figuring out the use cases and thinking through that whole process of deployment.
Yeah, and make sure that it's expandable, that you've got room to grow in whatever solution that you use. um, you had said for LSA voice, I would say LSA messaging is more important than LSA voice, because we see an increase in lead volume, which is what everybody cares about because the leads are super cheap on LSA. So the only question I typically get from anybody that's running LSA is how can I get more leads? So to get more leads, it's not through voice, it's through messaging. It's to make the messaging component of it, um, to solve that problem. And we've done that. We can do that. And it's we've been doing it for months now. There's a little bit of a challenge to it, but we've solved that issue. And so this is the competitive advantage that you can have, because then you get that little blurb that says typically replies in minutes, under for messaging, below your local service ads. And then Fred said, I just started doing HR consulting, so maybe it would help with sourcing clients. Absolutely. You can, if you've got, you can absolutely source clients and use it that's another use for the agent. So it's really, like I said, it's just a matter of how creative you can be with, what it is that you want to do. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I think there's a piece that's like, okay, if you're just starting a business, right? Like you're gonna need kind of like that lead list, right? And how do you get that? And then once you have that and you have an idea of telephone numbers, right? You can create a bot to make outgoing calls,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then have trained a bot and to answer the phone and say, hey,
Yes.
it's D Fred HR Consulting. I wanted to talk to you about services, right? And
Yeah.
then they can have a conversation from there. So
Yeah.
I think we're in a world where being able to make outbound calls, the telecoms aren't really prepared for this, right? You've had spam calls filters this whole time, and that's something to navigate, and that's why we work with clients closely, because we want to be a solutions provider, not necessarily just a technology provider. And there is a challenge there, but right now it's the people who could use these agents that can blast out, if they have a list of 1,000 people, to make that call concurrently. Imagine how long it would take for you to make 1,000 outgoing calls versus hit a button and call 1,000 people.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys. So I was literally at an event, and we got two more questions coming in. And Junia, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, she said thank you so much. So yeah, thank you for jumping in. And if you want to join us tomorrow, we can help you set up an agent for your LSA voice and your LSA messaging within like 10 minutes. So join us tomorrow. I wish I had the link here. Maybe we can actually send a message over to Kaylee and have her I don't know if Kaylee's on, if she can post a link to our webinar tomorrow. If you can try to send her a message, that'd be great. Okay, there are a lot of AI types like video, music, image, some text-based, and much more. They can do different things, but do they have similar back end? Is it something is it just different data? They are learned. Okay. There are a lot of different AI types. Like, yeah, there are. I mean, so it's what's happening. The AI types is just, again, it's that interface. It's the voice and the messaging that's what's happening here. The LLMs, the large language models, allow us to communicate with the programming, with the computer. That's, oh, look at that. Okay. That's funny. It was the balloons. But they have different back ends. So you can really, what I would think of is how you can gain access to each of these types of tools that you want to gain access to, whether that's music or image or text or whatever you want to do. That's, you want to identify the APIs. If those tools have APIs, then you can access the information. What AI allows you to do is have an easy interface to gain access to it, and it allows that interface for you and your team, and just like the prompts that you guys see, that you're creating in order to get things done. So, was there anything you want to add to that,
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say I think the context is kind of like there's a bunch of AI services right now, right?
Yeah.
Some to do like website copy, to write papers, some to generate images, and it's fundamentally the same type of technology.
Hmm.
It's a generative AI, a neural net model, a transformer model that can basically predict the next thing, right? So if it's text and I go, "How are you?" You're like, "Great, how are you?" Right? It's just predicting that. And if you kind of go, "Well, images are basically just pixels, right?" And can you predict what, if I said generate an image of a cat, like fundamentally it's slightly different, but the kind of, the underneath the hood, like functionality or process is similar. So you have different mediums. It's basically like when there's text, voice, video, right, and speech. If you look at some of the voice agents right now, what they're doing is they're doing a voice to text, right, translation, taking that text, sending it to the same text-based LLM, right, having the text response come back, and changing it to speech, right.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it's all similar technology, and the all these businesses that are popping up using AI, it's fundamentally the same, right?
Yeah.
You have a large foundation model, right? You have a layer in the middle of your if it's a business like the agents that we create for businesses, we give the background information. Here's the name of the business. Here's what it does. Here's its offering, right? And then it just packages that and sends it right back to the LLM. So in a way, think about like this as the LLM providers as the electricity, right?
Hmm.
Electricity made it so that you didn't need to rely on oil anymore, and it could be connected to the grid. So think about
Right.
all the businesses that could be possible now, right?
Yeah. So the electricity is provided by, for example, Llama, which is Facebook. Okay, Google, which has got Gemini, OpenAI, um, Claude. You've got all these different large language models that are producing the quote unquote electricity, which is the ability for you to be able to, as Alec or as S said, allow the large, like, communicate with the large language model in our normal speech, and then it's predictive. It predicts the next thing through that mode that's new, which is either text or voice, which is all what we've always wanted. I've always wanted to be able to communicate with a computer by just talking to it. I mean, everybody has, I think, and so that's why this is so powerful. And so, let's see, and then hopefully that we've got another question here. I'm in my final year and short on time to seek client. If you could roast review my resume, it would be great help. Okay. To
Yep.
seek client. Okay, am I fine? Okay, yeah. Just do the best you can to try to find a client. I mean, I would go to Upwork. I mean, you can find
No,
yeah,
my point there was forget the resume,
yeah,
like forget it, like
yeah,
provide value to the business. You can literally walk down the street to your convenience store, right, and just be like, do people call in?
yeah,
Hey, I'll create a bot for you. There's
yeah,
so many businesses that have so many pain points. Stop
yeah,
thinking about how to dress up like your own
yeah,
thing in hopes that people will find you, right? Like
yeah,
and in a way, that's how the world has operated. Has they've
right,
gotten under into that mindset that's like, hey, let me prove to myself I'm valuable. Like,
yeah,
be valuable. Like,
yeah,
go to
yeah,
businesses. Look, we do local service ads when we talked about leads, right? Like, all right, we've done this for some businesses. How are we going to find more leads? Literally go to the next search lawyer, search plumber, whatever it is, right? All those businesses have a need for an AI right now. Your lead
yeah,
list is infinite. If you
hmm,
call them right up and be like, I'm just going to play like an AI agent for a business for you and
yeah,
tell me if you want this, right?
yeah,
Because we're going down the list. You were number 3 on the list. Guess who I'm calling next? And if we could put an AI agent that makes their business infinitely scalable, you're no
yeah,
longer going to be 3 or 4. The person who's 20th on that list will be like, all right, you're going to get 1 out of 20, and they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to help them scale, so they'll be number 1.
yeah. like, just, I think that the key is just go and build it. Your resume is your work. Your resume is what you deliver. So that's your resume. And then just get feedback, and then you'll get your next client. That's the So I absolutely show up for our webinar tomorrow. I mean, because find a business, create the agent, and deliver it to them. If they've got texting, inbound texting, or they're running Google local service ads, and you can provide an AI agent to them for like $200 a month, there you go. There's your first client, and you'd make like $100 a month. Just, I mean, yeah. So
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we're getting questions like these, because I can refer to personal anecdotes, right? I
yeah,
did 8 years of building messaging AI that helped people with relationships, right? My first bot, when generative AI was out, I was like, I'm going to do a relationship coach, right? Right now, every day, over 100 people talk to that relationship coach for advice, personalized advice. And my
mhm,
prompt was 3 sentences. You are a relationship coach. Listen to my problem and propose a solution and ask me questions that guide me through, right?
yeah,
That takes 10 minutes to build. And
yeah,
with something like that, we were on top of Google. If you Googled AI advice, you know, and when you think about all the things you could be doing that this AI is giving you access to, there's plenty of
yeah,
people that go, "Hey, I want to do life coaching. I want to start a new coaching business." Right? Okay, build the bot, put it out, and have people find you.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and Fred says, okay, I have an oil change appointment in 10 minutes. Unfortunately, are you going to post the recording? The recording will be posted. There's all past recordings that we've done, recently as well, Fred. So, I don't know if I'm doing HR consulting right now, but have a background in healthcare marketing, and this has me interested. So would love to link when you have it, and if I could watch this when I get back. Yeah, absolutely. It is recorded. And I'd say the key is really just thinking about what part of the healthcare marketing can that where there's interface with humans. Like that's what's one of the places. But and there's so many different ways that you can automate this. I really would like to get you the link for tomorrow's webinar, because hospice. Oh, okay, hospice. Okay, so larger models, smaller models, or vice versa. Okay, good question. He wants to know. So he's with hospice, and then larger models, or smaller models. Which one do you think? Yes, it
It doesn't
depends.
matter because you're not hosting the model, right?
Yeah,
Unless you save Llama to your laptop and you're a developer, you're gonna use just an API service, right?
yeah,
So the bots that we built, it's powered by GPT 4.0 Mini,
yeah,
and that came out a month ago. But before that, we used GPT 4.0, which was way more expensive.
yeah,
And Mini, it costs a couple of like $5 per million tokens, or maybe it's 15 cents, something
yeah.
ridiculously small like that, where it's negligible. You're not even going to think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, and actually the price is very rapidly going to zero. I mean, it's so
Right.
I mean, you can use smaller models on a local computer. I mean, you can if you're a programmer, you can actually have an adequate model on your laptop to actually like handle, I
Yeah.
mean, a decent, yeah.
And we say like it really doesn't matter. It's like if it's an electricity provider, do you care whether it's Con Ed or PG&E? The way
Yeah.
we built our bots, I mean, it uses OpenAI, but a one line change and it could be using Claude. It's
Yeah.
really just and these models are all good enough. When I was looking at
Yeah.
it 2 years ago, a lot of the open source models weren't terrific because I was fine tuning on that. But now you take any of and there's probably only like 6 model companies that 97% of the world is using. It's
Yeah.
basically OpenAI's models, Gemini, if they make that open, Facebook's Llama, because you can download that. Uh, Claude's becoming more popular, but it's really just a handful, and it
Yeah.
really doesn't matter which one you use.
Okay, yeah. So Fred says, it kills me. I have to go. Have a good rest of your live, and we'll look for the recording and links. Yeah, awesome, Fred. Yeah, thanks. And just, I mean, if definitely subscribe to the channel wherever you found us, and you'll get notified of any other new lives that way. So just hit the bell, and I would encourage anybody else that's watching the live to do the same thing. And yeah, definitely, if you think of any other questions, I mean, S has been doing this for almost 8 years now, which is unheard of in the AI space. So he's got a lot of experience, implementing for enterprise level, businesses. So whereas, I've had an agency for the past 15 years, so I'm solving for the local primarily small to medium sized businesses. Um, and Ishan says, hey, okay, and I'm doing that by leveraging the AI. So we're creating a 20-second delay, so the humans can answer the phone first, and then we're giving the AI the last 10 seconds to answer it. That's for the voice, and then for the messaging. If you got any questions, please post any questions that you have, Ishan, because we're going to be jumping off here in a second. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to continue to do these. I mean, I do see that we must be doing something for the algorithm. I mean, I think just consistency is key in terms of doing these live videos. We got up to, I think, 20 or 22 people on at any given time today, which is great. So please, if you like this information, share it with people that you think might benefit from it, and definitely give us a thumbs up, and then subscribe to it, and post any comments. We'll answer those questions on our next call, which is daily. Our next one's tomorrow at 1, and we go live with this call at 2 o'clock daily. Is what we do. So, and we stream live to Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, obviously, etc. So, hey, Hamad, how's it going, Hamad? Hamad says, hey. So awesome. So if that's the Hamad I think it is, it's the Hamad that's on our team. He's the plumber. He's
Yeah,
our
he's the
plumber.
plumber. He's the new electrician. He's the
Yes.
electrician of 2025 and going forward.
Hamad, let us know. He's what?
He's gonna be the busy one.
Yeah.
Now that there's electricity, there needs to be an electrician.
Yeah, and so he's the one. The reason we're saying that, we're joking, is that Ahmad is the one who knows Go High Level very, very well. So he's the one who connects the AI to our system, which is our CRM, which is Go High Level, like we were talking about in the beginning of the call. So that's just that's one of the connection places. Don't know the context, but I need to know. Should learn AI to its fullest extent, and we're just a wrapper. Okay, should I know? Okay, I am.
Use a wrapper. Look,
Yeah,
if electricity is going to be created and there's a grid, why would you learn how to create an electricity generator? No,
yeah,
just be the electrician that hooks it up to businesses. That's going to be
yeah,
in massive, massive demand.
yeah,
But
yeah. That just the wrapper.
And you should know it well enough. And by the way, even though I did this for 8 years, right? When I first started building these things, I didn't know how to do it. I just wanted to build an AI version of myself, right? And I just started playing around with the tools. And now I'm not doing any of the really deep like AI stuff. I'm the person trying to get this in front of people.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
it. Be
Yeah.
familiar enough with electricity to figure out how you could be shocked, right? But like,
Yeah.
keep playing with it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the best thing to do is, if you're a full stack developer. Yeah, you said great, thanks. So I think the thing to do is exactly that, like exactly what S said. Like, just learn the wrappers, learn the tools, and learn how to connect those tools. Learn to create the agents. Learn to create the agents and connect the tools to the electricity. Like, learn how to plug in those tools just like you do at the house. Like, that's what we're trying to do. And so if you learn those tools, so then, and the tools and you know how to connect them, then that's the magic right there. So, because then you can really make things happen.
And I would hate to say this, discourage you, but like, I actually think it's the people who are the full stack developers who are disadvantaged, meaning they're going to get too deep into the technical stuff, and people aren't going to understand. Like, the task here is to get business owners to be like, hey, like, deploy this, right?
Yeah, how do you use it to get results? How do you use it to make more money? And this is why we're starting with local service ads, because I have a problem. The problem is my clients do not answer the phone in 30 seconds and they don't respond to message leads in 30 seconds. End of story. That's
Right.
it. And so we can, if we've got a solution for it, that's easy, you know? And Clayton says, I agree. I think the better learning is the underlying fundamentals of what the models are capable of. Yes, i.e. understanding context window. Can't plug 220 volt into a 110 exactly. You're gonna
Right.
it's gonna blow up the tool, you know. So
Yep.
knowing that is gonna, it's like I always like to say, it's not what I'm going to teach you in order to help you get more leads. It's what I'm going to teach you in order to prevent you from actually like losing more leads. Like that's a lot of what we do with local service ads optimization.
Yeah.
It's helping the clients know, because we're an expert in it. And so we're saying be an expert in the tools that ride on top of the electricity. And so I got to jump in a second here. So Hamad said another one, trying to create a platform that create AI interaction ads for businesses. So where to start? AI interactive ad. Okay.
AI interactive
Right.
ad. So a lot of people have been using AI for content creation, right? Screw that.
Yeah.
It's way too competitive, and there are firms that do that better, right? And that those ads are meant to drive interaction. Well, skip all of that and go straight into the interaction. You know, that
Right.
was for a year. Everybody was like, "Oh, we'll use AI for the enterprise side for content creation." I was like, "Use it for where the biggest pain point is, which is communication. Like, skip all of that stuff."
Right. I agree. So for example, for us, our interface with our clients, our lead magnet is or was an audit. Well, why actually just send an audit where people have to fill out the document, where we can have the AI go through the same 12 questions one at a time and have a very sentient conversation with somebody. It's like me having a conversation with somebody, because I've dumped my brain into the AI, creating in essence a coach that is going to give much more value to somebody than them just filling out 12 questions and getting a result at the end of it. Like so this is the nuance of it, you know. And so Hamad says, because right now what I see is AI can create ads but not as interactive, because I need to grab attention. Yeah, exactly. AI can create, you know, forget the ads. Once you get the key is once you get the eyeballs, is create a conversation in a way to create you know, a really impactful communication with that person.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
look, my AI coach, relationship therapist, right? We talked to counselors who did relationship coaching, right? And I was like, our website traffic went up 10 times from that coach alone, because when people were searching for it and they thought they might get an ad, they actually got the session right then and there, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, provide the value. Think of ways to use the AI to provide that service as opposed to advertise that service.
Yep. I agree. So we're at the top of the hour. So yeah, thank you, S. Thank you, everybody. Please subscribe, like the video. Definitely show up tomorrow at 1 o'clock to the channel. We're gonna stream and do a webinar where we actually help you set up an agent within like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, texting and voice. That's custom for your business. We're gonna have you upload the knowledge base, and so come prepared with documents about your business and documentation, PDFs, document files, etc. Let us know what questions you have. Post any questions after the fact. We'll get to them tomorrow. And S, anything else?
No, that's it. Appreciate all the questions. I
Yeah.
love how interactive this is. This is how it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. Exactly. So cheers. Thanks. Always interested to see other opinions and how they're. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, Clayton, as well. Clayton Oates. Thank you very much. And thanks, guys. We'll see you
All right.
soon. Thanks, S.
All right.
Talk soon.